evening, America. Welcome once again to the Meat and Potato Show, conservative talk and awesome rock, here on the Northern Lights Radio Network. I'm here with my good friend Wayne Campbell, who's co-hosting here. We're deep down the bunker here. Liberal rhetoric blowing right over our heads here. But we're beating them back with your recommended allowance of truth and reality. And I want to welcome my great guest here. One of the things that we went to CPAC to meet all these people was we met Turning Point, we met MRC, we met all sorts of people there. And we're here to bring the first interview here. Turning Point is the first to come on the Meat and Potato Show from the CPAC organization. And I want to welcome Stephanie Conway here onto the Meat and Potato Show, conservative talk and awesome rock. Stephanie Conway, she is the Dallas coordinator for Turning Point USA. She has a political science bachelor's degree from the Connecticut State University, and they go to various different colleges to basically educate and make people aware in the colleges about the conservative movement, the Republican movement here in the United States. And it's so great to have you here, Stephanie. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Well, thank you guys both for having me on.
So, Stephanie, one of the first things I want to ask you is that on the college campuses, you've seen it. We see it. Wayne and I have kind of, we're old salts in this business here, but we've seen this this intolerance of conservatism on college campuses. And usually college campuses are supposed to be the bastion of, people of free thinking, open voices, open minds, different opinions. But yet we see it all the time about how college campuses are not exactly as tolerant as we would hope they would be. And please speak to that.
Well, college campuses have become kind of the opposite of a tolerant place. There's no free thinking unless you're thinking what it is they think you should be thinking. There's no such thing as having your own opinion unless it's the opinion that matches everybody else's opinion. Then you're an independent, progressive free thinker. And we see that they don't even just challenge conservatives anymore so much as anyone who threatens their tiny protected worldview. And you could call it protected because it's what everybody screams out about when you disagree with them. You're racist, you're sexist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe. And they've done it to Bill Maher as well in California and turned him away from speaking at graduation because of a comment that he made about Muslims.
That's right.
Sounds like a festering cesspool of liberalism.
It actually really is. And here's the thing, too. Here's the thing, is that, you're a young person. And it's so great that so many young people are getting involved in the conservative movement. You only just graduated from UConn, University of Connecticut State, just in 2014, just alone. Yet you are the Dallas coordinator. How did that happen that you ended up getting? I mean, talk about a dream job here. Come on, kid. Let us know.
Well, I had actually volunteered the year before my graduation with the American Conservative Union and worked at CPAC to kind of be able to go, but not have to spend the money that every college student doesn't have.
Sure.
And I met Crystal and Charlie while I was down there, and I watched kind of what Turning Point was doing, and Crystal got in touch with me later when they began expanding their field program and asked me if I'd be willing to leave Connecticut, and I didn't even let her finish the sentence before I was packing my bags to get out of Connecticut.
Anything to get out of New England.
All right.
With its global warming.
So give us a quick dissertation on you, your education, why you became a conservative. Was that part of your upbringing? Tell us a little bit about Stephanie Conway.
Sure. Well, I went to Eastern Connecticut State University and I spent my entire life in Connecticut. I was very young when I got the political bug. Typical woman, I like to argue and be right, so I would argue with my teachers. I could say that and not be sexist.
You're awesome.
No, you can be sexist because you're here with conservatives, so please feel free.
My inner misogyny. But I was always very inclined to discuss things, and I like to get at the root of things, the logical points behind things. My family tends to be more right leaning, but we do have the kind of outliers in there. I go to their house and I turn on Fox News and I turn off all the TV so that's what they have to watch. But it was more of a pathway into discussion. I think you learn more when you have these discussions and you learn different things about different points of view, and it always led me back to conservatism. The logical, reasonable solution was always on the right side, and that's what kept me really going with politics. Is I saw these discussions weren't happening. The education wasn't there. I sat in critical thinking courses and was told how to think like my teacher, not to think critically.
Right. Here's the interesting thing too. And please don't take this the wrong way. We're old salts, like I just said. You're a young person. It's so great that there are so many young people that are involved in this. One of the ways that we ended up going down to CPAC was through the Campaign for Liberty and through the Ron Paul people that who helped underwrite the entire trip to go down there. And it was a great event. It was a great time to go down there. It allowed me and my colleagues to go down there and film the entire CPAC thing, put it on the Meat and Potato Show, put it on M&P Conservative Media Network. But what's great about, we kept running into this. We weren't, see, this is what liberals will say. Oh, conservatives, a bunch of old men. I was at CPAC just a few weeks ago.
Thousands of you people around.
We kept running into young people just like yourself. And that's the thing that hit me. I thought to myself, no, this isn't about old men and old ideas. This is about conservatism. This is about our liberties, about our freedoms, and the things that even the young people are seeing out there today. Even they themselves are saying, what the F is going on here? This isn't what we signed up for. And I remember when I was a young liberal back in my days, I even said that at one point in time. I was like, this isn't the bus I signed up for, is it?
Yeah, and people are realizing that the free stuff only goes so far. Eventually somebody has to pay for it. Nobody's really going to coddle you through life. And they're graduating and wanting to get jobs, and they're realizing they have to leave their state or leave their home to go someplace that has a stronger economy where they can get a job. Or maybe they were told, if you get this degree, you're making six figures right out the gate, and they're realizing that's not the way that it's working anymore, because nobody wants to hire the young, inexperienced person and take that risk when they're taxed so oppressively. The market is just not there to support them going out on a limb for a recent grad. And young people are starting to see, and I've been to CPAC the last 3 years and seen actually the young attendees amount has grown in just those 3 years that I have seen. But that's because of they're seeing the job market. That's what matters to them, is what do I get to take home at the end of the day? A lot of millennials are very self-driven, and that's not a bad thing. But it's not something that works with the liberal agenda and passing out everybody else's money and the redistribution idea and minimum wage at $15 an hour.
Right.
Yeah, that's just a ruse for the government to gain that everybody goes up in tax bracket like 10 or 20%, and the government's collecting all that money.
Yeah.
Every penny of every dime in a minimum wage increase that big is going to bring up people into the 2 or 3 times the tax bracket that they're in now, and the government's going to get every penny of that right back out of you. They don't, and no liberal will sit there and admit that, because it's their what is it? Keynesian economics.
Keynesian economics.
It's a bunch of hooey.
So what are you seeing on the college campuses as far as people that are coming out and saying, okay, what's in it for me? What's going on? Where's my job? Where's my opportunity? What are you seeing out there? What are you hearing?
I'm hearing a lot of students who are frustrated with their opportunities moving forward. And being in Texas is an entirely different beast than the Northeast and what I'm used to. These students are still frustrated. We have a strong state economy. There's lots of jobs, lots of
But
work,
even
lots of
still,
opportunity.
even still, there as
They're
well.
still frustrated.
Right.
They know people who graduated recently and are still looking for full-time work in the field that they went to school for. So even in a good situation, what you're seeing are young people looking at, not necessarily understanding that what they're looking at is the debt and then government regulation, but they're looking at a job market that doesn't exist in the way that it did for our parents and our grandparents, and they don't know where to kind of target that frustration, where to direct it, how to change what's going on. And that's part of what Turning Point does, is we go in there with these issue-based materials and we explain that it's because of government overregulation, it's overtaxation, that these job markets don't exist as strongly as they used to.
Exactly. And then, great point. Let's segue into, tell us about what Turning Point is doing. Where did it start? Tell us about what you're doing. Talk to us
Turning
about
Point
that.
started in Chicago about 2.5 years ago. Our founder, Charlie Kirk, is only 21, and he is still going to school at King's College right now. But he started this small organization, just himself, our field director, and some other people with donations, and they got support. And the idea was to educate students. There's so many different groups that go out there and they get loud and in your face for just a moment, or they do voter registration for just a moment and then they're gone, or they only come out during the election season.
Right.
Like
And that
Lyndon
doesn't do
LaRouche
anything for
Democrats.
the off years.
Like Lyndon LaRouche Democrats.
Like Lyndon LaRouche Democrats. They stand
But-
right out in front of the post
but
office. and
actually-
just like, hey, come over here.
So here's the thing, Stephanie. Here's the thing. So you're actually you're looking to longevity. You're looking to keep this thing going. And what's amazing about this? You just said your friend there is only 21 years old. It's amazing that this is happening at such an early time that all of you are in this school. I mean, who's funding this? How is this happening is what I'm asking.
Well, we're a 501c3, so all of our donations come from just private donors who see what we're doing, they like what we're doing, and they want to support us and see us grow. So we have people who look at our message and they understand how it relates to the entire country moving forward, and they donate to us to support us going forward.
Excellent, excellent. So, what campuses are you covering? I mean, talk about the spread. How are you guys doing?
Well, we're on over 800 different campuses
Woo!
nationwide.
Good for you. Good for
So
you.
we are reaching. We have 60 new chapters that we achieved in 60 days. We just brought on, I think it was 19 more field coordinators. So we're somewhere between 20 and 30 full-time field staff who are on a different college campus every day, starting chapters, posting events, helping other students to get more involved. Some of our field coordinators help students with right-leaning groups to actually kind of take on the bureaucracy of school administration, because it can be difficult to get your event approved if it's not something that fits the typical
Yeah, you're never going to get
college way of
anything.
thinking.
You guys aren't ever going to get anything into the festering cesspool of liberalism at Harvard or
Yeah,
Princeton
exactly.
or
Here's
any of
the
them-
other thing.
any of them
Well,
weird
actually,
schools.
let her answer that, but I want to preface that with the question: what resistance? Wayne makes a great point about getting into the liberal colleges, the high-end colleges. What resistance are you guys meeting here?
Well, resistance is a great thing for us. We love it when we find resistance. That means that we're getting noticed. We're doing our job. We've been to Harvard. One of our Illinois coordinators was there. He hit it hard. I think it was for a week. And we got a new chapter started at Harvard. We have
Awesome
field
for
staff
you.
coming
Good for
in
you.
Massachusetts, Connecticut. We have field staff in Southern California.
Right here in liberal
So-
Massachusetts. Good for you.
The Communist Party of Massachusetts.
Go ahead.
Good for you. If you can get this state, you can get anything.
Massachusetts and Corrupticate.
Corrupticate. I love it. I love it.
We're gonna steal that. We're
I
gonna
love
coin that
that.
phrase. We're gonna name that phrase after you. Corrupticate. We love it.
All right, so you've got strategies, you've got messages, you've got stuff going out there. Let's talk to us about. Don't give away any company secrets here, but how's the strategy? What's your game plan here?
It's nothing that hasn't been done before. We're mimicking MoveOn.org, but we're making it of the right. We go to these campuses, we get on the ground, we do the grassroots, we keep everything very short and sweet. You have a lot of students who are used to being told about politics, and it becomes an hour-long speech where somebody is talking at them about policy in very vague terms, or directing them specifically at a political party, and they want nothing to do with it. All of our materials are buzzwords, rhetoric almost, you could say, in that it's very short and sweet, and we allow the conversation to grow from there. Personally, in Dallas, the method that I use is I make it about the students every single time that I can. Because if you can get them talking about themselves and relate their life to that policy or to what's happening in the world, they want to talk about it. They want to know more because now it means something personal to them. And all of our field staff make sure that we take our issues and bring it to their lives.
Let me interrupt you there. You make a great point in that it's got to be about the individual. You're absolutely right. MoveOn.org, most leftist groups talk about policy, talk about socialism, talk about the greater collective. Everything is en grand, everything is bigger. Talk about the bigger picture. Here's the thing about conservatism, and I'm going to say this here because we're taping this for the radio show later on tonight. Everything in a conservative movement is about you, Stephanie, me, my buddy Wayne. It's about what we do to make a difference in the world, in our own personal lives, and to help bring something better back to the nation, to create something, to invent something. I just finished watching the 3rd chapter of Atlas Shrugged. Talk about something that is about individualism. This is something that is lost on college campuses, isn't it, Stephanie? Everything is about I'm sorry to interrupt you, but everything is about collectivism. Everything is about listen to what I'm saying, follow what I'm saying. Whereas a group like yours and other groups, even the Young Republicans, even the Young Americans for Liberty that helped us get down for the Rand Paul thing.
Kumbaya, holding hands. Let's get this
everything
done.
in college campuses.
It's all collective. It's
everything is collective.
Is individual, and the thing that struck me about Turning Point, one of the kids from Turning Point kind of grabbed me and took me down to your booth at CPAC, and I was really impressed because they all stood there and listened to me. I was like, wow, these young people are really listening to what I have to say.
Because it's about an individual.
I'm just about how does this conspiracy affect you, and you, and you? We're all individuals. We're all individually sovereign, and we're all equal to any president and any king on the face of this planet. And they were all like almost in there applauding me for it, and I'm like. What a great group of young people. I mean, it was really awesome the way I was received down there, and I'm grateful that you kids are all together on our side. So God forbid you be on the other side, we'd be screwed.
We'd be screwed. So to finish what I'm saying is that there's this collective thing that's going on here. You guys are talking about the individual. Is this something that you've all been raised from? Something that you learned, or is this just innate inside of all of you? Talk about the individuality that pushes you guys to do this.
I mean, I can't speak for every member of Turning Point as to where they found the importance in individuality. I know for myself it was kind of innate, combined with being raised to value the individual. But I think that a lot of people find individuality at some point in their lives and recognize the importance of it and the individual, the person, the sovereign entity that is yourself. Whether it's earlier in life or later in life is what's very different. It exists in all of us. And really, if all of us are individually successful, then the community does benefit. If we're individually successful, we're able to better help those who maybe are still striving to be more successful themselves. And college students haven't had somebody articulate that to them, really. You go through high school and through college, and it's all about the community, the collective. We all need to work together. You turn on things like MSNBC, and Melissa Harris Perry is telling you that they're the community's children, not your children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's despicable.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So it's when it's articulated to them in an effective way that they realize that sense of self, and that selfishness isn't necessarily a bad thing. And when you help them to grow that idea, it's new to them and they get excited about it because they're allowed to be a little bit greedy in their pursuits and want to do better for themselves, because they realize that down the line, doing better for yourself, being greedy, being that little bit selfish, is not the horrible thing that colleges make it out to be.
That's awesome.
It's I don't want to get all biblical on you, but I'm going to do it for a second here. There's a point in the Bible where where everything is put together by the individual in the First Testament, and then another group comes along who didn't work that hard and demands that somebody else gives to them. That other individual is obliged to give to them, and then that person, the other person that it's given to, just destroys and wastes everything. There's something about working hard for what you've attained. It's not a selfishness. It's not well, it is an individual thing, but it's not like I did this and therefore I'm going to hold on to this. It's a part of what makes us Americans, and it's part of what makes us growing as a human society, that each individual, like yourself, you're the Dallas coordinator. You went and decided to go do this thing. Wayne and I decided to do this radio show. We decided to create this thing. Yes, it's for us. Yes, look at us. We're making a great thing here. But we're giving back to everybody else by letting everybody else come on, like yourself, to come on and give your voice and to speak to other people. And if there are other people listening, then they in turn can take your ideas, our ideas, and expand upon their own lives. So this little bit of selfishness, and you're right about this, Stephanie, this little bit of selfishness actually expands into a greater good for everybody else. Somebody else gets the idea. It's like, those guys are doing that, I'm going to go and do that. Am I wrong on that?
No, not at all. It's perfectly fine to take on your own level of selfishness in doing something, wanting to be seen, wanting to spread the word in some way, because like you said, you're allowing other people to come on and now they're speaking and they're able to be a little bit selfish and push the organization that they work for. But people who learn about it, who may not have heard about it before, are going to grow from it. People who learn from your guests, who they may not have heard from otherwise, are going to grow from it. Selfishness has been stigmatized to a point where if you even say the word, it automatically means you're a horrible, evil person sitting alone somewhere only trying to benefit yourself. But benefiting yourself doesn't always stop at self.
Right.
And that's what people don't know.
Right. And speaking about not stopping at self, the work that you've done, that Crystal has done, that Turning Point USA have done, you've become one of the largest youth movements on college campuses. You've grown tremendously in the last 2 years. And why don't you talk about that and why? How did you guys get to do this?
Now, how many out there are you?
Yeah, really. How many? What's going on out there?
Full-time field staff, somewhere between 20 and 30.
Woo!
Right now, people in the state going to a college campus every single day. We're actively hiring.
Wait a minute. Wait. You said 20 and 30. You mean 20, 30,000?
Full-time staff, 20 to to 30.
Oh, really?
Well, they can't pay everybody on 20 or 30,000 people on
We got to make
donations.
this
If you get
20 to
$2 a
30,000.
So don't knock my
Oh.
paycheck down.
Okay.
Oh
Don't
no,
worry,
no,
don't
no,
worry.
no, but no. But
Don't
if
worry.
there were 20 or 30,000 of you,
But actually, that's actually really good. That's actually
because,
really good. If she's
because
got,
people don't. I mean, rich people are pretty kind of selfish, and they don't tend to donate to youth groups like like yours.
actually, wait a minute. What do you got there? Who's donating to you? That's a good point.
I don't have the list myself. It's something that they keep in the office. I know we get private donations, we get small donations, we get some very large donations. The thing about Turning Point and getting donations from those very rich people is we have shown and proven that we are effective. We track everything that we do. We're keeping reports of where we go, who we talk to, what happens with the students on campus, who registered to vote. Did they go vote? Or what are the youth turnout numbers in places where we had full-time staff members? So we take all of this information, the collective proof that we're doing something. And our donors see that their money is being spent effectively. It's not donating to a group and hoping that they produce results. You're donating to a group and you get to see those results every week at the least.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's absolutely amazing. Stephanie, it's absolutely amazing what you're doing. Wayne and I were so pleased to meet members of your group at CPAC. You even said that you've been there for the last 2 or 3 years. We were just honored to be able to get there for our first time. This is a young radio show that we're doing here.
I was actually told I was going to take a picture of a couple of your staffers up on the floor at CPAC, and they were like, "Oh, we can't take pictures, and we need to have our red shirts on, and the coordinator approval on it." So one of the guys that came up to stand there with the couple of young ladies that were standing there. I mean, I was impressed at the kids' ages. They were like 18 to 21, and I was like, "Wow, these kids are really, really young, and they're already with the conservative movement." I myself didn't even get into voting until I was 28, and I did so because a friend of mine convinced me through Rush Limbaugh when he was, just real into it, going after Bubba Clinton, and I actually saw firsthand what this communist was trying to do to our country, and I went in to vote against him. I started to vote against Clinton and that whole, literally communist agenda. And he spent his college days over in Moscow. Just recently at a Tea Party meeting, we met a couple of girls that came from Russia over here. They were only like your age, between 18 and 22, and they had just graduated from one of the
Clark
Massachusetts
University
school,
here in Worcester, right?
and and basically they both had their master's degree in international communications. And I'm like, you have your master's degree, and they're only working at this place serving and bartending because they couldn't find jobs in their field.
And that's the amazing thing, is that you have people coming over here from other countries, coming here legally, not illegally, coming here legally, and seeing that, okay, this is supposed to be America. This is supposed to be a place of opportunity, yet where are the jobs? Where's the opportunity? Oh, wait a minute. I'm being taxed. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I've got to apply for this. Oh, wait a minute. More regulation. Oh, wait a minute. More licensing. Oh, wait a minute. This is not. See, again, I told you before, Wayne and I are old salts here. There was a time in America when you just went out and did something, and you just made it, and
or you didn't. There's always an opportunity for failure.
Now here you are, as an American citizen, trying to get your life in order. You join this organization. You're probably out looking for a job. I hope something's happening. But probably in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, no, nothing is happening. But here's the thing. It's like this whole opportunity thing, it's evaporated now in America, hasn't it?
To a certain extent, It has, and I think part of that goes towards students thinking that lower levels of work is beneath them to a certain degree. We don't want to
Oh.
start at the bottom of the ladder. We're convinced we should automatically be at the top of the ladder.
My eldest
And
son is like that, and he's 26 years old.
and he wonders why nothing's just falling into his lap.
Exactly.
Opportunity is there if you work for it. The dream is there if you work for it. I worked very hard through college and in politics in Connecticut to be in this awesome position that I am in now, working for such a dynamic organization. But other people don't necessarily always see the value in that, or the state itself wants to regulate opportunity, if you want to put
Right.
it that way,
Right.
in that you can only get equal outcome instead of an equal starting point,
And
which
it's
is
all
really
in the
where
name
we
of
should be.
fairness and the better and the greater good. I'm like, that's like, la di da. Okay, here's your utopia. Right out the door. See ya. Get out of here.
Stephanie, I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show and doing this interview here. It's so great that we were able to meet you people at CPAC in 2015. Please, shameless plug. Give your website, give your information, please, on the show.
Sure, you can go to turningpointusa.net/get-involved to sign up to receive any number of materials or emails or updates from us. The website itself will direct you to our columnist program where you can see lots of young writers. We're hosting a couple different summits in Chicago this summer to help students
Good.
from different
Great.
groups advance.
Cool.
And you could reach out to me with questions at stephanie@turningpointusa.net.
Great, Stephanie.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. We're going to archive this and we're going to broadcast the audio later on tonight on our Northern Lights radio show. And this will be up on my YouTube show. I will send you a copy. And please give Crystal my best because I know she's not feeling so well. And I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show tonight.
Thank you guys both for
Good,
having us
thank you.
on.
We
letting
look
me talk about
we,
Turning Point.
we look forward to talking to you and your colleagues so much more because this is going to be a great year. It looks like that things are going on here in 2016. Do you feel that there's a turning of the tide, that maybe conservatism is back on the rise again?
I think it's definitely on the rise. The problem comes from within the right itself and all our infighting that we like to do.
Yes, we've seen that ourselves. I've covered that on the show. Oh, Stephanie.
Oh, back in the 50s,
Oh,
the
so
grassroots,
great.
the grassroots kids were out there joining young Republicans, you know, and supporting people like Richard Nixon and stuff like that. They actually, well, the young Republicans actually wanted.
Yeah, but it's worse
Richard
now, and I
Nixon
think
to win
Stephanie's
in
onto
1960.
something. Stephanie's onto something because I've covered this in my own radio show about all the interviews that I did in 2014 with the candidates. Is that yeah, they're like even you guys, yourselves, you might cover. Well, you might support or back up, or maybe somewhat tacitly get on board of a certain candidate, and then you find out that the mainstream media, the mainstream Republicans, the mainstream conservatives, they've already picked their golden boy.
Yeah, they're stepping on
She's
it.
nodding her head. She
Yeah.
knows what I'm talking about.
It's absolutely the lamestream media is the most despicable, underhanded, slimy organization that you can find out there.
And Wayne makes a good point. Before we leave, before we sign off, what have you heard from the media? What's going on? Have you guys been covered? Am I like one of the few people, the underground media?
Yeah, we want to
that's
see you
covering
guys
you guys.
go
I mean,
full
Let's
wide,
talk about
full
Turning
blown
Point.
countrywide.
Yeah,
Charlie
as
is
far-
on Fox frequently.
Good.
Awesome.
They have
Excellent.
him on all of the time. As far
Good.
as other news organizations go or news outlets go, not so much. I do a lot with radio interviews for the group because I do my own show and stuff like that as well. So I've been on some
Good for you. You can plug your show
underground
too.
things.
Yeah, send us all your links. Send us all your
Send
links.
us your link so we can put up
Stephanie,
your show too.
thank you so much for coming on to the show. Have a good
you,
night.
guys.
God bless you, and good luck to Turning Point USA.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you. Have a great one.